Hello everybody, welcome back. Justin here. We're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do some crock-pot meals, some easy fall meals throughout the week, and then we're going to kind of put them all together to give you a couple different ideas. So today I'm going to start with a beef stroganoff, something a little bit different than a traditional beef stroganoff. It's kind of my version. I make mine with ground beef because it's easier to get and it's a little bit cheaper to do, really. So I'm going to use ground beef. I got about a half a small onion, probably about a tablespoon, probably about a teaspoon and a half of minced garlic, about a pound of washed sliced mushrooms, and then I've got some cream of mushroom soup here, a little beef base. We'll mix them together. I'm going to put it on low for about 3 to 4 hours, and then I'm going to kind of check on it, adjust seasonings, and then I'm going to serve it over egg noodles like you do generally traditionally. So I'm going to go ahead, get all this stuff in the pot, and we'll get her going. Alright, we're going to add our mushrooms. Those will cook down. And we'll also add some water to the mix as they cook. We're going to put our onion in. Do some garlic. That sounds good. Next, I'm going to do the beef. And when I do the ground beef, I'm going to kind of break it up a little bit. So that way as it cooks down, it won't be in such large chunks. So just a nice little, spread like that will be good. Now I'm going to throw a little bit of salt and pepper on top of this as well. Just a little bit, just to help get it started. And then once we kind of get toward the end, as it's done cooking and meshing all together, then we'll adjust the final seasonings to make it perfect. We don't want to over season it at this point because as it cooks, it reduces. It'll get way too salty. So we're going to do it this way. You could also do this on the stovetop, but this is a nice way to just set it and forget it. So I'm going to wash my hands and I'll be right back. Alrighty, all washed up because I handled raw meat. I'm going to take about a tablespoon of this beef base. If I can get it in there. Do just a tad more. Oops. Anywho, so we got that. And that will mix in. Generally you would mix that with hot water and make the broth out of it, but that'll mix in this just fine. So I'm going to take 2 cans of cream of mushroom, and I'm only going to add a little bit of water just to rinse off the cans. Let me get a rubber spatula. Alrighty. So I use like a regular one, and then I use a garlic one just to give it a little bit different flavor. Kind of add to it. Get this out here. There we go. And we'll do this one. I'll do a little bit of pepper. Fresh cracked. And maybe about a teaspoon of it. This is a great way to have dinner ready for you, especially if you went to work or you've been working outside all day. It's a really nice, especially today is kind of rainy. So I'm going to get a little bit of water to kind of clean out the cans because there's always some left in there. Put that on top, and then I'm going to give it a good mix, and we're going to set it and forget it. Here we are at the end of the evening. We've got, I cooked about 5 hours on low. I did add a little bit more beef base, and then I added some salt and pepper, and then I stirred in 1 cup of sour cream. You can do a little bit more or a little bit less depending on how much you like. I like mine with a little more in it, so came out great. And I just got some egg noodles. And we're going to go ahead and bowl this up and dig in. everybody, this is day 2 of our 3-part little mini series for putting together some quick easy meals, some crock pot meals. This one you can make in the crock pot, but I'm going to make it in my little cast iron Dutch oven here just because I have the time. So I'm going to do an unstuffed pepper. Basically it is just like a stuffed pepper without actually stuffing it. So we're going to brown off the ground beef. I've got the onions, the bell peppers, garlic, the tomato sauce, rice, beef base, and you're going to make like a really nice, almost like a stew-like. I actually like it a lot better than actually stuffing peppers. So I wanted to share that with you and bring you along on this journey. Alrighty, we have 1 green pepper. You can add more if you'd like. And I have about a half of a small white onion. I'm going to do about a tablespoon of garlic. I got 1 pound of ground beef here. I'm going to start with browning off the ground beef about halfway, and then I'm going to add the vegetables, get those sauteing off. Once the beef is fully cooked, I'm going to add the tomato, the beef base, we'll season it, and then we'll throw in our rice there at the end. So I got just a little bit of oil to help this get started. And so go ahead and get this going. I like to break it up a little bit when I throw it in, just kind of helps. You can hear that beautiful sound. Means the pan's nice and hot. Alrighty, we've got our beef here about halfway cooked off. As you can see, you got a pretty decent mixture of pink and brown. Chopped it up so it's kind of fine, but it's still got some texture to it. We'll go ahead and put just a small pinch of salt in there, a little bit of pepper, just to kind of get the base started there. We're going to do about maybe just a bit more. About a tablespoon of chopped garlic. And do our peppers, do our onions. And you could always add other vegetables if you wanted to, but this I think is a pretty good mixture right here. So go ahead and get this stirred up.
Try to get everything nice and even, nice and mixed in. And what I'm going to do is let this cook down a little bit further. I want the vegetables to start cooking, and then we'll throw in the tomatoes and probably a little bit more seasoning. The final adjustment will be at the end. If you want, you can make this spicy, add some red pepper flakes, a little bit of mustard powder, things like that, just a little bit, and that would also change the complexity of it as well. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and let this cook down a little bit for about, I don't know, 5-6 minutes, and when we go to add in the tomatoes, I'll bring you back. Alright, cooked down here a few minutes, got some nice, the onions have softened up, so we have the peppers. And I'm going to go ahead and add the tomato product. This was about a 28-ounce can of tomato sauce. You could also do diced tomatoes, but I think this gives it a really nice sauciness and makes a good base for the rice. Alrighty. So, and I'm not going to add any water because I want a lot more of the flavor to come from this as well. So, along with this, I'm going to do maybe like a nice tablespoon of beef base to kind of give it that extra oomph and add a little bit more flavor. So now I'm going to let this sit and stew for probably, I don't know, like another 10-15 minutes. Kind of cook out the canned taste that sometimes tomatoes can get from a can. And then once it kind of comes up to a nice simmer, I'm going to add our rice. I'm going to cover it, cook that, and we should be ready to eat. Alright, it's been about 10 minutes, and there is our beautiful finished product. So as you can see, it's really thickened up. It's made like a nice mixture here. You can see the onions, the bell peppers, the beef, and this is really good, especially now that the weather has turned cold, a little windy, a little rainy, a little snowy, and this just really warms up your day. So this is a quick, easy dinner that you can make right in your own home. Alright, join us back for the next one. Hello everybody, welcome back. We're doing our 3-part little mini series. Some quick and easy Crockpot meals. I have my Instant Pot today. It's going to act as my Crockpot because we have officially sold the house. We only got a couple more days left, so I wanted to squeeze this in really fast before everything else gets put away. So we're going to make a cheesy chicken, kind of like a stew soup thing. This is my grandmother's recipe, and she really likes doing it. My wife really likes it, so I'm going to give it the old try. It's got chicken, bacon, cheddar cheese, cream of chicken soup, some noodles, and that's all put together and makes a beautiful little, just cheesy, hearty meal that's good for this colder time of year, even though today is really nice out. So we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna get that started. We got some vegetables cut up here and start throwing some stuff in the pot. Okay, I've cut up about 1 onion and about 2 carrots. The recipe also calls for celery, but my celery plants are kaput. So I thought I would have some celery here at the house already. So no big deal, won't be the end of the world. So we're gonna go ahead and get this in. I also grabbed a couple sprigs of fresh thyme from my garden and put that in there as well, just to give it some nice flavor. I think thyme and chicken go well, really well together. So I'm gonna do about 1.5 teaspoons of chopped garlic. We're gonna do 2 cans of cream of chicken. I've got one with herbs and one without. We'll just kind of see how that goes. I'm going to do this and do less less chicken stock because I like it to be kind of creamier and a little bit thicker that way. So you could obviously just do chicken stock and that would give you kind of more of a soup consistency, but I feel like it tastes better this way. So we're going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and rinse these out. That'll give us a little bit of water, but also get all the extra stuff that's around the can. So let me go do that. I'll be right back. All right, got our water. Give us all the extra goodies out of here. All right. Now we are going to, so spatula we do. I'm going to mix this up a little bit, kind of incorporate it. Next I'm going to do is add the chicken. So what I'm going to do really fast is just trim off some of the extra pieces here, and then we'll go ahead and throw that in. You could also just do like a rotisserie chicken, or if you have some leftover chicken breast that's already cooked, that also works fine. You do tenders. So this is what I have, so this is what I'm using. Generally with chicken, they're pretty clean, especially the boneless, skinless chicken breasts, but they tend to sometimes have like a little bit of stuff around them. This is part of the like cartilage that comes from the middle of the chicken where the rib bone meets. So I generally just take that off, and then any fat really. So there's that nice piece. I'm going to kind of just do rough chunks, and then it'll also help with the cooking time as well. This is going to be considered a little bit of a fast slow cooker, about 2 hours. So generally you could put this in whole, you know, let it go for a couple hours, and you'll get a nice consistency as well. But I just wanted to go ahead and speed up the process a little bit, so that way it's done when we are ready. So chunk this up. Alrighty. Now I'm going to go wash my hands and I'll be right back. Alright, so I washed my hands. I also washed my knife and my cutting board. This recipe also calls for about a half a cup or so of cream cheese. So I've got that here as well. Just mix that in. That's going to give it another level of complexity. It also calls for some milk. I don't have a measuring cup, so I'm going to eyeball this. It's roughly about between a half a cup and a cup, depending on how thin you want to make it. I'm going to do about a half a cup. Because with the Instant Pot, it doesn't reduce down as much as the traditional Crockpot, so I'm kind of compensating for that as well. I'm also going to throw in about a tablespoon of chicken base instead of chicken stock, because we added that water already with the soups. So I'm just going to eyeball about a tablespoon, get that mixed in. That'll add a nice amount of flavor and give you that extra oomph that we will probably be looking for later. So we've got this all combined. I'm going to wait. It does call for cheddar cheese as well. I'm going to wait to add that because I don't want it to get kind of like a weird texture. Sometimes when you cook cheese too long, it gives a weird mouthfeel. So I'm going to go ahead. Cream cheese is fine. That doesn't really affect that. But I'm going to go ahead and let this start cooking, and then let that go for another hour or so. In the meantime, this meal also gets bacon. So I've got my handy dandy cast iron pan there, medium-low heat, and you can add as much or little bacon as you want. This calls for roughly a pound of bacon. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do it all. So I'm just going to go ahead, dice that up really fast, and get that in the pan. So we have let this cook for about 2.5 to 3 hours, and as you can see, we have a nice
stew-like consistency. Got the bacon in there, the chicken, the cheese, the noodles, and it's got a really nice flavor to it. And this is going to be a great dish, especially when it's kind of colder out, but it's got that saltiness, that cheesiness, chicken. It's a really nice dish. It's a pretty easy dish, throw everything in there, and I'm really excited to share it with you. So I hope you've enjoyed these nice couple smaller meals. When we come back, we'll be back in the camper producing some other winter/fall dishes. We've got Thanksgiving coming up, we got Christmas coming up, and I'm really excited to share the holidays with you because it's one of my favorite times of the year. So, alright, come back with us the next time we're cooking.